Okay, welcome everyone to the new show that we were going to be putting up on this channel, the Fake Nerd Book Club, Fake Nerd Podcast Book Club, however you want to say it. It is an extension of our book club series that we do on our main show every week. In this case, we will be taking a series and discussing one volume every new episode. We have yet to figure out a lot of the how frequently the episodes will come out, but we're thinking about like every other week. So we'll definitely keep you guys informed as we do that. This week, we have Wasted Space, a comic you probably didn't hear of, but you should. And so we're going to touch on it now. And so hopefully you guys will recommendation. Sparks, you have all the information.
Real quick, Brandon. Have any of us heard of this comic before we picked it? That's unbelievable because both of us worked at a comic book store. Yeah. In this book, I think this book's really good. Even if it's like fine, this book should be known for how unique and good it is. Go into the details, Marc.
Okay, so we're doing the first volume of Wasted Space, which is the first 5 issues, and it's written by Michael Moreci, illustrated by Hayden Sherman, colored by Jason Morty, and lettered by Jim Campbell. This book's dope.
This book's I'm a big Rick Remender fan, and that dude's very cynical, and he writes a very archetypal type of story, and I felt that in here. But it's as if he had like a couple drinks and he was feeling a little in a better mood than normal. So it's not as dark as normal, but it still has that cynicism, and it's like the perfect level of everything I love about fighting fascism and religion and action movies and robots and everything I could want in a comic. This is it. This is one of my favorite things I've read this year. I'm so glad we picked it on a random wheel because I cannot wait to read more of this comic. I think this comic is the reason you read comic books, like really.
Yeah, so we're picking the first volume of it, and there's 3 volumes in total. So the next episode, volume 2, and the next episode, volume 3, and then we'll pick another one. But I had never heard of this book before, and Sparks was tasked with picking what our first book would be. So he picked a bunch of them, and we put them on a wheel and with a couple of other suggestions, and it just random happenstance. And Ryan, you're absolutely right. I should have known about this comic. I can't believe I did it. And it was coming out around the time that I was heavily into comics. Mm-hmm. Like, so it wasn't something that came out before.
Yeah. Yeah. It just goes to show, like, so many comics come out, and this comes from Vault Comics, which is a relatively small publisher. Yeah. They don't put out, I don't think, that much stuff, or if they do, they don't market it well. Yeah. But yeah, this feels like an Image book, like a Boom book. It feels like any high budget book. It's got a great story about redemption and like trying to forget your past, but then realizing you have to fight your past because like if you're a bad person, you can become a better person. You don't have to live that way. There's a lot of really cool science fiction elements that again weave in. A lot of political topics we're talking about in these days are really relevant. You know, whether it's fascism, whether it is religious brainwashing. Or feeling like you don't deserve to be better, or you don't deserve happiness, and those kind of things are kind of universal, whether it's fantasy, science fiction. And I just think the writing here, it's really crisp, it's really sharp, it's really funny, and the whole group of characters, every one of them is unique and fun. And Billy is such a wild character because you just learn his story about how this dude was like chosen to be the voice of God, and then realizing maybe God's not good. And then realizing you're still going through with it, and you are the reason that the universe is doomed. That is something I would write like on any day. That is something that is so good, and I think it carries through every issue. Billy's pain and him wanting to escape from it, but ultimately realizing like I am the one who has to finish this myself. And I just thought this whole book was just fantastic, you guys.
Yeah. Ben, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, from the very first line of the very first page, I was like, I'm in for a crazy ride. Because when your comic book starts off with the galaxy is effed, it's like, okay, we're getting into some heavy shit here. And the whole thing was a roller coaster. It was a roller coaster of like seeing how Billy became the voice of the creator, which is essentially God. And even when we actually get to see the creator, because normally when in books like that, where someone's like, oh yeah, I used to be the voice of God, and God doesn't listen, he never shows up, he doesn't do whatever. You see him in the first issue. He's a robot. Seeing the creator as like a freaking robot from Battlestar Galactica. I don't know what they're called.
He's a regular looking humanoid, which threw me off a little bit. But like, why wouldn't God choose a form that makes sense to humans or something, right? Like, he doesn't always have to be this omnipotent, giant, galactic face, right? He can be just a person talking in your ear, which might be even worse because it's more realistic. It's some dude whispering in your ear. That's even more troubling because he's always whispering shit in Billy's ear, and it's so awful.
And as he keeps whispering stuff in Billy's ear, and Billy's just like, no, I'm done. And he's like, oh, have I ever steered you wrong? I never steered you wrong before. If you just do what I say, everything's going to be all hunky-dory. It's like, no, it's not.
Yeah, the backstory is that he was told by the creator to back this dictator. Be like, this man was ordained by God, and things like that. But
basically,
yeah, but everyone hates him. He hates the dictator, and because of that, he lost his credibility in the eyes of the people and in himself.
Because the creator backed this evil man.
Yeah,
and everyone's like,
and so now they're stuck with this evil man. But because Billy was like, no, God has a plan. Like he is for us. He is, but this guy's awful.
I do think it's important to point out that like they're very specific in the terminology of he is the creator.
Yes.
Because there are some other beings that show up that they're referred to in passing as gods.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they seem to be different.
Like the Legion. The Legion specifically. Oh, I like the Legion a lot.
What a fascinating guy.
The Legion, like when we see like these weird things in this white void receiving information constantly, and they all start yelling death. I'm like, what is this? What kind of acid trip am I under here? And then the Legion shows up, and every time the Legion just goes somewhere and someone says, just like someone swears, he's like, please watch your language. It's like I read him in a voice that was very calm, but also just doesn't give a crap about if you curse or not.
The new Nimrod from the recent X-Men.
I got this.
Yes,
for sure.
Yes.
Touching on what you just brought up, the moment I read, because that's right at the end of issue 1, where it's all I think they're also types of gods.
Yeah.
Who are sitting around like plugged in. I'm like, oh man, like what if all the gods are like all of existence is just the gods' acid trip that they're enjoying, and then they freak out because it's going wrong. That was my impression the moment I read that. I'm like,
it's a bad trip, man. It's a bad trip.
I will say the tagline is like "get wasted," and I think that almost does a disservice to what this book is, because it paints itself as like, whoa, we're all getting drunk and like high and we're having a space adventure. And while that is kind of true, I think it is a little more serious than that, and I think it's a little more dramatic than what the marketing seems to be. Because every issue at the end, it's like the next issue is "get wasted," and it's all like trippy sci-fi stuff, and I'm like, it is that, but it's kind of not. Also, you know what I mean?
There's a lot more heart. There's a lot deeper. There's a lot deeper than that. And one of the things that I like, the characters. I think the characters are really well defined, and especially the killbot / fuckbot.
Oh my God, Dust! What guy with the little smiley face?
The killbot that has been reprogrammed to be a fuckbot.
Yeah.
But the fuckbot that loves him that was reprogrammed to be a killbot.
Oh my God! Yes. You talk about soap opera drama in space.
I know. I want to be clear. I want to be clear to the audience. We are actually saying FUQ.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not FUCK.
It's like what you're. It's like It's essentially it's the French. Essentially, we're saying the French word for seal.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's like if you ever seen AI, the Steven Spielberg movie, Jude Law is a fuckbot. He's a handsome-looking dude who knows how to use his body. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Dust is so fun because like he's like, is he? Oh, there's the line where he's like, "Can you guys get married or something?" Ew, and he's like, "That's really uncool, man. You can't say that."
They're like, and then Fury just looks around and is like, "That is really offensive," and he's like,
right.
Sorry. I'm like,
my interpretation of Dust was, this is like if Alfred were the same age as Bruce and going out with him all the time.
Yeah, okay, like his.
This is what that is, because he's like more morally responsible,
but still gets in the
functionally better and takes care of him.
There's one line. There's one bit that I really enjoyed where he's being reprogrammed, and he's just laying there on the table, and Billy and the girl, I forget her name. Sorry,
Molly Sue.
Yeah.
And they were and they're arguing, and he just gets up, and then the next panel is he's just right next to them, and they're like, "Oh, geez." Yeah, I think the comedy in this book comes off really well.
It does.
Yeah, I don't think there's. I was trying to remember if there's any jokes that like didn't work for me, and I don't think any did. I think I enjoyed it throughout the entire 5 issues.
God, I think one of my favorites is the part where Legion is pulling those worms out of the armor to find out where they are. And and then he's like, but man, these gas prices are nuts.
They're crazy, right?
And I thought for a moment, because of how I read it, I thought that was like one of those things where you're reading the dialogue on the next page because the next page is kind of tied to Fuel 2.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was Billy talking at first, and I went back and I'm like, no, Legion just straight up killed that guy and then was like, man, gas prices though.
One of my other favorite characters in this book is Molly Sue.
Yes. She's a good character.
I freaking love Molly Sue. Especially like the scene when she's in the casino drunk off her ass and she's winning. She has like that pile of chips behind her. She's like, "Mommy needs a new pair of shoes. Let's put it on 6."
Doesn't like the casino guy come and say like, "Hey, congratulations on winning all the money. Why don't you come with us and we'll give you a VIP prize?" And then someone kills him or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. God, I'll pull it up. I don't remember who exactly.
So one of the things that surprised me about. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, mine's not relevant. Yours is relevant. I was going to go to a different point.
Well, I think it's her brother. Her brother's.
Oh yeah, her brother, the guy who wants part of the ass, and the ass will not be conquered.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Her adoptive brother. She's adopted. But he's an anarchist, absolutely an anarchist, and he kills their father, who has taken over Billy's position as the head priest. But he doesn't talk to God.
No.
But he doesn't hear God in his voice.
Oh no, he's just scamming people.
Legion shows up in the casino, and that's when they first encounter him, and he's just straight up killing people.
Yeah, that's what Legion again. Like he'll kill people willy nilly, but he's just so nonchalant. And again, he's very much like Nimrod, where he's just like cracking jokes, or he's just like, I don't know why you guys are so mad about this.
You know what surprised me more than anything about this book, and talking about like the heart of this book. There's actually 2 bits. One of the things is when Billy's in prison.
Yes.
In prison in the anarchist ship, and he talks to that kid, and he relates to him, and I was like, I thought this was going to go a completely different way.
Yeah, it's very real. Yeah.
I thought it was going to go like, oh, sci-fi, we're going to do this cool escape. But it's like, no, he talks to him. He talks him down. He understands him. He comes to him at a place. I was just like, shit.
Yeah, like I know exactly where you're coming from because I was you once. Like, yeah.
Yeah, and it works. And I thought that was really incredible. The other thing is,
I think that's also informed from like Billy talks about being the voice of the creator. He heard everybody's stories for the creator, and the creator didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
Yeah, and so I think he's like encountered so many people from so many places that feel just like this kid feels, and he's like, I know exactly how to talk to him. I've been doing it.
Yeah.
The other thing that surprised me is that the Emperor Palpatine of the story is killed.
He has a great name. Hold on, his name is Devilus Yam.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's killed at the end of this. At the end of these 5 issues.
By Billy. Yeah.
And then so I thought the story was going to be about them taking him out, but no, the story is that they're going to go after the creator.
They're gonna kill God, baby.
It's such a good moment that the end of the 5th issue in this volume, after they kill him, and it's like, oh, he's setting off a nuke, and now war is happening, and Legion's like, God darn it, I told you, but you had to look, you gotta go kill the creator now. And he's like, oh, well, shit, yeah.
Hell yeah, I'm gonna go that mission. Hell yeah.
The creator just pops up. He's like, told you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have done that, Billy. You shouldn't have done that. And then Legion pops up as like, you just started events that will lead to the galaxy's destruction. The only way to do that is if you have to kill the creator. And he's like, yeah.
Doesn't hesitate. Just like, okay.
What? He's like,
I love when Devilus Yam is assassinated, and then his AI pops up with like this cute anime girl. Oh, hi, congratulations! You set off a nuke. Prepare for world devastation. And I'm like, man, this is like the tone is all over the place, and I love it.
Right. Yeah, and then and then the warhead goes to that military base of the Argonians.
Yes.
Yeah, it goes to the military base of the Argonians. And of course, Billy's like, oh, hey, the Argonians are essentially the bad guys of the galaxy besides us. So it's actually not that bad. But then Legion's like, oh, dude, you effed up.
So it turns out Legion might have been like, even though he's killing people, like the good guy, because he's bringing balance to the world. So now he's going to potentially join our team for the next volume, which is just fantastic.
Yeah. I'm reading this one. I read this 2 weeks ago. I'll be honest with you guys.
Yeah.
And I resisted reading more because I was like, I could read ahead.
I also
Yeah,
was the same. I was reading it last night, and I was like, "Are we sure it's not 6 issues in this volume?"
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm gonna wait. I want it to be fresh.
Yeah.
I as I was reading this last night, and once I got done with the 5th chapter, I'm like, man, I really want to read more. I want to know what happens. I want to see if the crazy scheme of killing the creator falls through. I want to see that.
Yeah, just talking more about like the emotion that they're able to show, like right before before Billy kills Devil Siam, is him standing over him and like he's crying, Molly Sue's crying,
like don't
everything
do it.
is so emotional in that moment, and he freaking does it. And when it turns that page and it's just like the red behind him, and it just says blam blam, and I'm like, oh man, I didn't think we were gonna do it.
And doesn't he says like this isn't for this, and this is for May.
Yeah.
And I didn't kill May, you did. And we learned that he had a girlfriend or a wife that died in something that happened, and Billy doesn't blame himself, he blames the Emperor. And that emotion, it's powerful, and he kills the Emperor, causing galactic civil war into the world possibly.
So let's talk about Molly Sue a little bit. So she was adopted by this priest dude because she had abilities to share visions. Mm-hmm. She has visions and she can share visions with people. Yeah. And these visions are supposedly given to her by the creator. And she sees, and one of my favorite bits is actually the flashback where where it's the cowboy dude with the 6 spurs on his feet.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And he's shown that he's going to kill his wife. So he bails, he leaves. I'm not going to kill my wife, and he ends up doing it anyway.
Yeah, it's because doesn't she like get mad and then like go look for him or something, and he shoots her by accident or something like that?
Yeah. So the wife goes to find him because he'd left, and he ends up killing her.
It's like inevitable. Yeah.
Yeah. And so she knows that her visions are inevitable, which is why she went to find Billy, because she has a vision of the destruction of a planet, and she wants to stop that planet from being destroyed.
But she ultimately was kind of part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I love about like again bringing like the X-Men like the Destiny stuff and like the Mystique stuff. Like when you have someone who can tell the future, but like it is the future, but like you don't know how you get there or why you get there, and you try to stop it, you just inevitably create that future. And that is always heartbreaking every time that happens in any type of media, because like you are trying to stop destruction any way you can, but it's inevitable. You can't. And I thought that was really powerful. Yeah,
I did too. I thought I like that moment a lot. I like that character a lot. It's a fun wrinkle. Yeah. Creates a little bit. It's kind of like, it's honestly a little Firefly mixed with Rick Remender.
Yeah, I was thinking Firefly, like space cowboy stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Reading that story about when Molly met that cowboy, and then like he learned he was gonna kill his wife, so he left, and then he ended up doing it anyway. Like that was like little moments like that are sprinkled throughout the book, like when he's talking to that kid in the prison cell. Like so many beautiful little emotional moments are sprinkled in this funny sci-fi action movie. And it's just like it's got everything. I think it's got everything.
We talked about how the tone is kind of all over the place, but it's so well balanced. I never feel that from moment to moment we're getting off tone.
Right.
All the tones are so well balanced and interweave into each other, and you never once feel like you're getting tonal whiplash. You never feel like you're kind of lost the point of the story. It's so concise and so consistent, and that's one of the things I really enjoyed about reading the book.
Right. They did a great job with things like Molly Sue's dad, who's clearly an allegory for mega churches.
Yes.
And how gross that system is. And then not just like when Billy talks to the boy in the cell, and it shows that sinister system of how it, pulls people in, something we talked about a lot with white supremacy. Mm-hmm. But also when he gets under her brother's skin, because he's calling out all his bullshit that he's just like grandstanding onto the issue, and it's like you think that you're doing something powerful and you're just another asshole.
Yeah.
He is part of the ass.
That's
cool. And I love that they'll call themselves the ass, because they make the acronym ASS, like Anarchist Society Syndicate, right?
Yeah.
And then at the very end, they're like, nobody takes out the ass. And I'm like, thank you. You did it. You did it. I'm proud of you. Love it. It's willing to be super serious and emotional, but also just be batshit bonkers, because this is you can do that. You're allowed.
Yeah, like one of my favorite like speeches in the book is when Billy is talking to Rex, the brother, about the whole freedom thing. He's like, you don't know what freedom is. You think you do, but you're just whiny little bitches, and just because you take something down, that's not true freedom.
That's the most recommender I was feeling. I was like, man, it's like it's challenging him.
Yeah, and I was really liking that part. I was like, wow, this is pretty. Wow, he's got some good points. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, where he says, you guys are just like everyone else. You want your point of view to be the only point of view. No one wants to listen or cooperate. It's all about power. It's about dropping a nuke and acting like you're doing the galaxy a favor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think
what else is this? Go ahead, Ryan.
I was gonna say we haven't talked about the art much. I think the art is really good. It's very messy, but not in a bad way. In a way that's his style. Where like not everything is always drawn out, or even sometimes whenever you draw a character, like you put like the lines in between their faces, like to make it proportional and stuff. Some of that stuff's even still there, but it feels very not amateur. It just feels like it's just a couple people making a comic book.
Right.
It doesn't feel like a Marvel comic, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, like it feels like this is just a group of people who wanted to make an awesome comic together. It feels very low budget in that way, and I just really like it, and I'm glad it connected with people. Again, because we didn't hear about it, but apparently all 5 of these issues sold out when it was coming out, and it was a big success critically. So I'm glad it got to continue.
Yeah, I heard about his other book, Roche Limit.
Yeah, did we do that for a book club? Because I've read that book for sure.
I don't think we.
I don't think we did it for a book club, but I've
definitely
heard of it.
Which I've also read. I didn't realize I know this dude's work more than I thought. This dude knows how to do some good ass sci-fi.
Yeah, but you know, talking about the art like you're talking about, I really like fluid art style, and for a lot of times when it goes to like superhero comics, I prefer my art to be not too cartoony, but definitely something that's not quite realistic. But when I'm coming to like weird sci-fi, I prefer the art to get weird, and that's kind of what I felt here. It's weird, but you never lose track of what's happening in the story. The art still concisely tells the story, and you always know where each of the characters are.
And it helps that everyone looks very different. Like you have Billy, who's a white dude. Molly's a black girl. You have Dust, who is a blue robot, who's half the time naked with the smiley face over his dick. Like
I love that.
It feels very much like Hawkeye, the Matt Fraction Hawkeye. I'm a big fan of this book, and I'm really glad we picked it. I think the stuff with the creator is such an awesome way of doing that type of story. Instead of it being like a Cthulhu, just a voice, like beyond the cosmic. It could be anything. Like it could still be that, but it feels so personal when it's just a dude whispering in your ear, "Hey, do all these bad things," because that feels so much more emotional to me.
Yeah.
Whenever we see the creator, he's always kind of his face is over the shoulder, and he's always close to the guy's ear. So
he's always in a white suit, but when he gets mad, he turns into like a black-red suit, and he does that like once or twice. And I'm like, oh, that's a good little thing you do there.
Also, I love his text box.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like it's a black background with white text, and the text it's like in comic books. Normally, when you read text, everything is capitalized. But for this one, it's like normal, kind of like the Ultimate Comics did, where it's like normal, like uppercase and then lowercase letters. So it's like,
I think that's supposed to show like because he is a higher power, he speaks on a different level than human beings do.
Yeah, and I really dug that. I really dug that about the creator.
Yeah, all the presentations. What was Dust's girlfriend with the robot jaw? She's
Fury.
So cool. Fury, what a cool lady. She just shows up. She's like, I'm just here to find my man. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so silly. I love it.
And then when they find out they're supposed to get married, I'm like,
he left her at the altar? Come on, Dust. I know who you are.
What?
Like, that's so...
And now it looks like she'll be part of the crew.
Yeah, and then maybe Legion might be joining the crew to help take out the creator. Like, issue 5 leaves in a really great spot. It opens up that world to be like, okay, so we beat the bad guy, now let's beat the real bad guy. And I'm like, oh man, this can go on forever now. I love it.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the next volume.
Me too.
Yeah, there's some great moments. I really like just on the first page, the very end, where I was like, man, this is already, I know this is going to be a good story. Where he has the bit where he says, I do have the fog on my mask though. I just have to breathe a little, and the whole galaxy goes away. And I was like, dang.
Yeah,
we're in it. The thing that gave me, I was looking over the pages, and the thing that gave me the impression about the opening before Legion comes out, with all those guys sitting around plugged into like the images that are dropping down above them, is that like I feel like they're a type of gods because there's this part where the other one's like, "What are you doing? Where are you going?" And it's like they're all high off this or something. And he's like, "Time has come. Time is now. I have to go and wake us." Like they're all just still sleeping, and Legion is part of getting them functional again.
Yeah. So maybe like
See,
the creator.
See how I thought it was they exist as a hive mind, like they are one person, they are one legion. That's how I saw it.
They could be potentially like the representation of the universe itself, and they feel the universe is dying, whereas like the creator is above that, but like they feel like, okay, so all of us, we're slowly dying, we need to take care of this, but yeah, they're all high.
It'll be interesting to understand their relationship with Legion a little better.
If he's just like an agent of theirs or something, yeah.
Another one of my favorite bits was when Legion shows up to the dude who's like doing processing, looking at identification and stuff.
Yeah.
And he says what Ben said with "please watch your language," and he says, "I also require live stream footage of your planet's activities." And the guy says, "Hey, whatever you say, big guy. I just work here." And then he's, "Bam! You should take more pride in your work."
Legion has a funny way of killing people because he bonks them on the head like what's it called, like that old Rabbit song.
But he's so large. He's the largest thing that we've seen in this universe. So if it's just bonks people on the head, it smushes them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think this is one of my favorite things I've read in a while. I'm a big fan of this book. I'm excited. This was our first choice.
Yeah, all the art design is so good. The story's really interesting. The characters are done really well. The humor's on point. I highly recommend it.
Yeah. I think did it end at 15 issues? Is that the final of it?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay. That's a stinker. That stinks. But I'm glad they got more. If they ever make like a omnibus of these 15 issues, I will buy this 100%. 100%. Yeah. I would love to see the scenes.
Call it Vault Comics.
Yes. Hey, Vault.
There's some cool, when you get to the end, there are some cool covers that show like alternate art styles of the characters.
They're all super. Oh my god, that's so good. Dust is so hot.
Or like basic representational that takes it out of its usual art style.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really great covers.
But I like what the comic looks like most of the time.
Yeah, I do too.
God, just some of the stuff they do about Legion is so good.
Yeah.
This book is there's so much detail in the background. Like you don't when you have a lot of dialogue scenes, you don't necessarily always have to have backgrounds. Like we read a lot of comics, sometimes it's just white backgrounds because you don't need a background. I feel like there's a serious background in like every single image. Like there's always a sprawling city, there's always like destruction, there's always space. Like the artists were not lazy on this book at all.
Yeah, no, not at all. Okay, anything else you guys want to touch on?
No, I think that's it. Like I mean, if you're listening to this by now, like we've talked about the whole book, but you should definitely read this book if you haven't, like 100%.
Right. Yeah, I think we're going to be a little more detailed on our book clubs here, but people should be definitely checking it out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that'll be it then. That's our first episode of our new Fake Nerd Podcast Book Club series.
We love comic books. Let's talk about more comic books.
That's where the idea of this came from. We wanted more time to talk about comic books and specifically series of comic books. So we want to share that with you and hopefully find you guys some inspiration to pick up some different books. Read along with us. That'd be great. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I highly recommend it because this being outside our normal podcast format, we're really going to talk in detail about the books. Maybe in the future we'll talk about doing no spoilers, then spoilers or something. But I also would highly recommend that you should be reading it with us because we're definitely going to go in a little more detail than we usually do, obviously, with the link we can have here.
Yeah.
Okay, so that'll be the first episode. Our next episode will probably be in about 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
We'll let you guys know for sure.
Gives you plenty of time to read that next volume.
And this volume. Read the first volume and the second volume. Plenty of time. Okay, so I guess that'll do it. As always, you can make sure to like and subscribe on this video. Subscribe to our channel. Tell your friends. We have tons of videos on our YouTube page right now. This is not the only one. We have our Fake Nerd podcast videos. We've been doing live streams because of the quarantine going on right now. We have our anniversary, and we have our Artemis Fowl episode. I forgot what the movie was called for a second. We got the Artemis Fowl episode, and we've been going through the DC animated movies. So you want to check those episodes out for sure. Those are a lot of fun. As well as we have Fake Nerds Watch, where we go through a bunch of episodes for TV shows. It's kind of our after show. We may be doing another one soon. We'll discuss it. We'll see what's going on. And right now you can check out, hey, you want to rewatch Watchmen in quarantine? Watch our after show. You want to rewatch Swamp Thing?
Never been a more apt time to watch a Watchmen, and that show only came out a year ago.
Yeah. And then watch our after show on here and like those videos and subscribe to our channel. And we also have our Basement Arcade series where we've gone through a lot of cool games. Right now we are going through Mortal Kombat 9. And so there's all that. So definitely want to keep checking out this channel. Click the little bell icon. Unless, if that's all, you can find us on FakeNerdPodcast.com. Fake Nerd Podcast on all of our socials. I'm at BT McClure on Instagram and Twitter. Ben, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at BenMagnet27.
Sparks?
You can find me just doing whatever I can to enjoy my time with comic books at SparksWitty on Instagram and Twitter, SparkzWitty.
Ryan?
I am Ryan at DJ Tony Snark. You can find me on Twitch or YouTube at DJ Tony Snark 616. I'm sometimes streaming when I'm not too busy trying to be political.
All right, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this new show, and hopefully you'll enjoy the rest of it when we come out with them. Until next time, guys, stay fake nerds. Okay. Stretch it out, boys. Stretch it out. Loosey goosey.
Loosey goosey.
I changed my shirt specifically because I knew we were recording today.
Good.